Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning. Today is June something. What's today's date? June
24th.
June 24th, 2020. And you're listening to the Ralph Grace Jr. Morning Show. Another week has gone by. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see all of you. If you're listening, www.dbam.com. 860 on 860 AM on your tuner if you're in the Delaware Valley. And guys, thank you for checking in on Facebook Live and YouTube and all those other things we got going on. My name is Ralph Graves. Welcome to the Ralph Graves Jr. Morning Show. Guys, call in. We got a great show today. 888-329-3306. Let me give you those numbers right off the top. 888-329-3306. And we have a great topic today. Today's topic is this. Before we do our introduction, today's topic is you've got to be hungry. You've got to be hungry for the success and for the life that you're trying to live. You've got to be hungry. We're going to talk about what hungry. We got a nice little acronym for hungry. We'll talk about what that stands for. But in the studio with me today, we have our co-host, Janae Graves. Say good morning.
Hi, everyone.
Kair's here.
Good morning.
Jason producing.
What's going on, guys?
We got Jamie on the line.
Good morning.
Man, so glad to have the crew together and the crew in today. And we're talking about got to be hungry for success. Our Twitter poll today. Here's our Twitter poll. You go follow me at ralphgravesjr.com. Our Twitter poll today is what's our Twitter poll?
If you could choose one.
If you could choose one thing, thank you, Kair. If you could choose one, would it be a personal shopper? Would it be a personal chef? Or would it be a personal cleaning service or like a maid service? If you could only choose one, or maybe you already have them, but you could only have one. If you only choose one, what would it be? What would it be in your life? Is it a personal chef? Is it a personal shopper? Or is it like a personal maid or cleaning service to clean the crib? So that's the Twitter poll. Follow me on Ralph at ralphgracejr.com. Last week, Twitter poll was very interesting. We talked about eating crabs, and it was closer than you guys like to believe. You know, all the crab eaters checked in and said, oh, yeah. Hey, Ryan Graves checks in. He said chef.
Oh, definitely.
Ryan said chef. He said if you could have one thing, it would be chef. Ant Jones just checked in. He said chef. He said, I stay hungry. The chef is winning so far. What about you, Jason? If you could have just one thing.
I was debating back and forth with maid or chef. I'm going to go with maid.
Maid. Okay.
Right.
All right. All the fellas have checked in. Ladies, what say you? What say you, ladies?
I thought chef, but then I thought back and maid probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kair?
Definitely maid.
Maid.
I like to shop and cook.
Okay. All right. So chefs, and we're running right neck and neck. Nobody's saying personal shopper yet. So we'll talk about it as we go on. But we're talking about, are you hungry? Hey, what did you guys do this weekend? What you guys do? Anybody do anything interesting? Just veg out, chill? Anything, watch a new show or something?
Yeah, no, nothing.
Janae, you turned me on to a new show.
Oh, yeah.
Janae turned me on to the show Jason on Netflix. And Jason and I talk about shows all the time. She turned me on to a show called Alone.
I haven't heard about that one.
You ever see that foolishness?
It's honestly
It's
the
funny.
greatest reality show ever because it's super real. Like, it's actually
Yeah, I would
reality.
die. I would
But
die.
it was on TV. It's on National Geographic, but like.
Yeah, it's they drop you off in the wilderness somewhere. I'm
Not
not.
like Survivor.
Yeah, but you're by yourself. There's no team,
Okay.
and you have a GoPro. And there's no food, there's no team, and whoever lasts the longest, they drop 10 people out at different remote places. You never come in contact with one another, and whoever stays out the longest, surviving wins $500,000.
I can dig it. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's called Alone. People are checking in already. Farron says maid. Chanel Scott says I'm going to need that cleaner. She said I already cook everything, so she needs a cleaner. Erica Bogan says she would like a personal shopper. Hey, it's on the Twitter poll. Well, if you could only have one thing, what would it be? Personal shopper, personal chef, or a maid, a cleaning service. Guys, we're talking about, are you hungry today? Are you hungry today? Let me go back to people's weekends. Anybody do anything before we jump into it?
Oh, it was Father's Day. I remember that. I just
Yes.
saw a
That was
picture.
Sunday.
Yeah, I had a great Father's Day.
I
Thank
like
you
it was a
to.
long
Yeah, to all my
lots of
kids,
good work.
all 3 of my kids, we had a great. You guys really took care of me. I really appreciate it. Anybody do anything else? No.
I went to Two Claws on Friday.
Okay.
Saturday, I went to Vera for lunch.
Oh, you just back out in it.
Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
Kaya couldn't wait for the stuff to open up.
Sunday, I went to brunch, like a day party / brunch.
Uh-huh.
Monday, I did a photo shoot,
Okay.
and then
Oh, to be young
Sunday was
again.
kinda long.
Oh, to be young again. Jamie, what you do this weekend?
I told them talking about crabs. I cooked crabs for Father's Day. I had seafood boil. It was mighty good.
I bet it was. I bet it was. I bet it was. Jason, you do anything this weekend?
I'm a bit of a nerd, so a new video game came out,
Mhm.
The Last of Us 2. And it's kind of like, it's a more brutal version. I don't know if you like The Walking Dead, if you ever got into it.
Right.
Kind of deals with zombie, like end of the world apocalypse and infected people and like that, but it's 9 times more brutal. So
Okay.
It's a fun video game.
Well, as long as you enjoyed yourself, you had a good weekend. You had a good weekend.
Yeah, all things considered, yeah.
Yeah. I can dig it. Yeah, my weekend doesn't really start till Monday or Tuesday. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. My son just checked in, and I love when my kids check in. He said, "Pop, I wish I could stay for the show, but he has some clientele to train." No, man, don't let me stand in your way. Go get what you got to get. Go train those folks. My weekend is not till like Monday because I pastor church, preach on Sunday, work pretty hard, preach 2 services, do some things. But I went to the beach, and Monday and Tuesday, and I really enjoyed myself. I am a beach bum. It wasn't crowded, so no, I didn't wear a mask or anything. It wasn't crowded. We had a great time. I just laid out there under the umbrella, fell asleep, got some sun. My family was clowning me. They said I looked like a Reese's peanut butter cup because I fell asleep with my tank top on. Then when I took it off, my shoulders were one color and my chest was another color. And it just was the joke of the day that I'm a Reese's peanut butter cup.
That was my joke.
And I didn't find it particularly funny, but
Off the dome.
I'm glad that you guys were able to chuckle at your father's expense. But no, I really liked the beach. We had a real good time.
Something I did this weekend.
What you do this weekend?
So I went grocery shopping, right?
Uh-huh.
And I bought 2 things that I never buy:
What's that?
watermelon and cucumbers,
Okay.
because I hate both of them.
Right.
But I like them now.
Okay. So you had a good time. Now, listen, are you one of those people who skin the cucumber?
No.
No.
Just chop it up. Wash it, chop it up, and then just crunch on through.
Who skins the cucumber? That probably should be another Twitter poll for another day.
Slick,
I think if you make like a cucumber salad, you skin it,
Yeah.
or
like with like
sushi and
Italian
stuff.
dressing and stuff.
But doesn't
or,
that
like,
get too
making-
spongy?
Not sponge.
I don't eat 'em.
My cook's in the room. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about, are you hungry for success? Again, guys, my name is Pastor Ralph Graves Jr. I pastor Cornerstone Community Church in Millville, New Jersey, 911 Church Street in Millville, New Jersey. I'm a believer. Jesus Christ is my personal savior, guys. And I say every week after week, and Sunday after Sunday, this Christ Jesus, he wants to have a relationship with you. It's not a religion; it's a relationship. That's what being a believer is all about. It's a relationship, and John 3:16 says this, and it's simple. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Come to Christ just as you are. Give your life over to him fully and watch him transform it. Now, we've got to be hungry. We've got to stay hungry. We're talking about those things today. And being, you have to have a hunger. The lion, if you think about the lion in the jungle, right? Lion, lioness, they have a hunger that drives them. There's a reason why they're called the king of the jungle. It's not, they didn't get that just because they were just kind of middle of the road. They got that because they have a hunger. They have a hunger for survival and a hunger for success. And even though you watch National Geographic, watch whatever the case is, you watch one of these Discovery things, their kill rate is not as successful as you think it is, but they still have this hunger that allows them to survive. Now, and so I'm asking you, are you really that hungry for success? I often say that it's not going to happen overnight. Good morning, cousin. Oh, you guys saying good morning to me on Facebook. Good morning. It's so success. The success you want is not going to happen overnight. You have to have a hunger. You have to be hungry for it. Now, I got a little acronym to kind of help us through that word hungry today. It's not mine. Borrowed it from a mentor of mine. You may have heard of him. His name is Les Brown. I borrowed it from him. H for hungry. All right, let's start here and then we'll talk about it. This is what the H for hungry stands for. Heart-centered. Heart-centered. That means that my heart must be centered in that goal and toward that life that I'm really striving for. Your heart must be centered. Your heart must be centered. We want to talk about that for a few minutes. Are you hungry? Do you have a centered heart? Are you avoiding the distractions? Are you noticing the distractions? Is your heart centered, or is your heart wishy-washy, all over the place? All over the place. You don't know what you want to do. Well, unless your heart is centered on that goal, unless your heart is really hungry for the success that you seek, unless you are determined to be unstoppable, then you're not really going to obtain that. So that's one of the things that this is what we're talking about today. So I want you guys to call in 888-329-3306. Our Twitter poll is up on Twitter. Follow me at Ralph at RalphGraceJr.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Our Twitter poll is, if you could have but one thing, what would it be? What would it be? If you have one of these three things, would it be a personal chef? Would it be a maid, or a personal shopper? So far, I've heard from all three. So we'll see what's what. We're going to take a short break right now. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into the H of hungry. Call in, guys, 888-329-3306. My name is Ralph Graves, and you're listening to the Ralph Graves Jr. Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Jones, and I'm one of the attorneys with Codler.
What happened?
Nate has the most.
Nate has the most so far. How many?
It was 75%. Nate 25. Shopper. I mean, chef. Nobody picked shopper.
Shopper is probably difficult, but
But like, who doesn't like to shop?
you right, Bert? Oh, you would have thanked my man on the loan last night. Gotta eat the muskrat.
Oh. I love how when they leave, when they go, they're all like, why am I out here? My family. I'm like, you get out of here. Like,
It's almost like they thought that it was just going to be like
easy. Like, it's going to be a
2
cakewalk.
days. What's going on, Facebook Live?
The first season winner better than anybody else.
Facebook Live, what's going on? Call in the show, guys. 888-329-3306. We're talking about being hungry. Talking about having a heart that's centered. What are you hungry for? And are you really hungry? You just talking. You just talking to hear yourself talk. But are you really hungry for it? Life is short, man. People dying every day. What are you hungry for? Let's get after it. Gina Clay Williams, she said maid. Jennifer Woodard said maid. A lot of people going for the maid.
You know, not that I'm dirty.
Nah,
don't
it's
like
just
cleaning, you know.
don't. I could be doing it to something else
Right.
besides wiping the dust off my entertainment center. And I'm I'm supporting another business.
It's like an extra 10, 15 minutes to make your bed in the morning.
The people we use, they'll make your bed, yo. What's up, everybody? I am back. Ralph Grace Jr. Morning Show. Call in 888-329-3306. We're talking about being hungry. And the H, we got a nice little acronym for hungry today that we're going to get through. The H stands for heart-centered. Heart-centered. So let me ask you guys this. I'm going around now. I'll start with Jamie. Jamie, I'm going to start with you about the centered heart. And when it comes to success and when it comes to having a heart that's centered, is your heart centered? Has your heart been centered? What are some of the distractions that may keep you from your heart being centered? What do you think about the H and being hungry? So we're striving for success. We have to have a centered and hungry heart. Talk to me. Yeah.
For me personally, I had to partner. It was not to get to this point.
Right.
Like in terms of the law, like even in the decision to go to law school, there were a lot of naysayers. A lot of people typically how difficult it's going to be to get in.
Yeah.
Even if you get in, there are not going to be a lot of people there that look like you, which it wasn't. There were
Right.
200 students in my first year law class, and only 11 of us were African American. There were
Right.
there were a number of challenges, and then once you get out of law school, you got to take the bar exam before you can even practice, and then you got to find a job.
Yeah.
It's very challenging, but when your heart is in it,
Yeah.
none of that matters to you. You say that's just hey, one more hurdle to overcome.
Yeah.
I got this.
Sure.
I was going to what I wanted within my heart.
When you're, and I like what you said, when your heart is in it, you can handle failure. Like, I don't know how many times you took the bar exam, but I know people who took the bar exam a couple times, right?
I know people who took it a lot of times, and to God be the glory. I only had to take one time.
There you go.
That's in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Virginia.
Yeah.
I passed them all on the first try.
Yeah.
That was only because of the Lord.
Right. And I know people that have taken the NCLEX or the other, if you really want something, that one little failure is not going to stop you. If your heart is centered, if your heart is really centered, the naysayers, the haters, the ones that will try to tell you that it can't be done, the ones that will try to tell you how difficult it, in the name of love, I'm just trying to tell you how difficult it's going to be. Because I don't.
Nobody in your family has ever done that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to be the first.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't want you to be disappointed if it don't happen. Well, see, listen, I don't have a if it don't happen attitude.
Come on now.
I have it's a going to happen attitude. I'm not going to be disappointed because it's going to happen. It may not happen this year, next year, but it's going to happen because my heart is centered. And I hope my young people in the room are listening to that. We have well-meaning friends and family members who, and sometimes, I don't know, they're well-meaning. They'll just say, listen, don't be disappointed if it don't happen for you. No. If my heart is centered, it may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen overnight, but it's going to happen one night. Because my heart is centered. Janae, what do you think about this centered heart thing? What do you think about what we're talking about? You really understand this principle and what this thing's about. Kind of share. It's like a focus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense at the heart center, or maybe it's just because the H is first in hungry, but
yeah,
you have to decide on something first, and a lot of people use their heart as the thing that just decides. But we know from last week's verse of the day that you shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. But heart centered, at least like you said, it is a focus.
Right.
It's a decision that you've made to, I'm gonna get to this end.
Right.
Now bring on whatever else is going to happen. But I'm going to get to this end.
And let me bring it around. Like you said, if you guys know I'm a believer. This is a Christian show. I am in the will of God. I believe what God has called me to do. I believe what God has purposed me to do. My heart is centered on that, on God's word, what I believe. And so I've got to go do it. I've got to make it happen. I've got to stay the course. No matter what I see, I have to believe what God has said concerning me, concerning my destiny, concerning, so forget about listening to all others. If Christ put it on your heart, God put it on your heart, be unstoppable. Have a heart that's centered. Be hungry for that success. Be hungry for that thing you've been purposed to do. Listen, there will always be 1,000 people that will attempt to tell you what can't be done and what you can't do. And a lot of those people are well-meaning. A lot of those people are family members and loved ones. But I'm in this culture now, and I guess I surround myself with some hungry people, and they're really getting it, and they're really, and I hope I'm helping them push through the part of the naysayers. I interview people all week long who are just so focused on their calling and their purpose, and they'll tell you how the struggle is, but you're Your heart has to be fixed on where you're trying to go. And that's not even only in business, but what about in marriage, right? If you want your marriage to work, guess what? Your heart got to be centered. You got to be determined that we're going to work this thing out, right? If you want it to work, you got to be determined that both of y'all are working for it. It's in anything, in school. How many of you guys have been in school and dropped the class or whatever, or just change majors and all this other kind of crazy stuff, and then you end up doing something that you really don't want to do? This is what you guys better understand. If you are not working towards your dream, you are certainly working on somebody else's. And so you're going to have a heart that's centered. The U, unshakable faith. Unshakable faith. My heart is centered. Now my faith can't be shook. My heart is centered. Now I've got to believe in where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm standing on God's word. It's unshakable. Gina Clay chimes in on Facebook. She said, if you are purposed for something, God has given you a passion for it. Therefore, it is heart-centered. So now I'm heart-centered. So now I've got to have this unshakable faith. And your faith will be tried. Can I get an amen? Your faith, you live long enough on this planet. Your heart's going to be tried. Your faith is going to be tried. Good morning to Sean. Your heart's going to be tried. Your faith is going to be tried. Everything, a lot of things are going to try you to knock you off center, to keep you away from, or to keep you back from being hungry, or keep you away from that success that God has preordained for you. You have to have this unshakable faith. You have to have it. Guys, the Twitter poll is, if one thing you could have, only one thing you could have, would it be a personal chef? Would it be a maid? Would it be a personal shopper? If you were allowed to have only one of those things, who's winning in the poll, Kair, on Twitter?
Maid's winning, and then chef is right behind it.
So maid is winning.
Mm.
Shopper's not. Nobody wants a personal shopper.
Not yet.
Kair said, "Who doesn't like to shop?" You know. So maid is winning. Guys in the room with me. Let's talk about this heart-centered and unshakable faith. What do you do to keep yourself centered and pushing forward, Jason? What do you do to keep yourself centered? What do you do to keep yourself? What do you do to keep your faith unshakable in what you believe in and what you're doing? Is there something you use, a tactic or something?
With more faith, just ever since we've had our pre-Cana, we just kind of, me and my fiance, we've actually found more religion lately. We're both Catholic, so
right.
We just kind of try to pray together. We try to pray in the morning. Well, it's more difficult in the morning because she sleeps more in the morning and I get up early. But when we try to go to bed, we try to just pray. We're not praying for our own selfish stuff, but just praying for everyone in our lives and just navigate certain bad times. But just having that faith.
Yeah.
I feel like I know certain people don't have anything to believe in, but I think it's important too because it's just like. I don't know. It's a sign of a good sender in you.
Man, that's a sign of a good relationship that you and your fiance are praying together. Y'all listening? I could do a whole show on relationships. You know why? Because I've been married forever, 29 years. So I know about relationships. If y'all ain't praying together, it's hard enough when you are praying together. But ladies, you better find a man that know how to pray. And fellas, you better find a woman to know how to pray and pray out loud over you and pray together. See how quiet the whole room just got? Hey, Jessica Brown said that she could use a personal chef, that she would use a personal chef, right? That's her thing, personal chef. Thanks, Rez, for checking in. Praying for one another, unshakable faith, right? A heart-centered. He said he works out their faith. They work out their unshakable faith by praying for one another. Right? So they're pursuing a successful marriage. They have hearts that centered on each other, a stable heart, a heart that's centered, a heart that's not wishy-washy. I'm not double-minded. As James says, a man is double-minded, is unstable in everything, in all their ways. So my mind's not doubled. My heart is centered. This is how I want to live. This is who I want to be. This is the life that I've chosen for myself. My stuff is centered. And now, since it's centered, and while it's centered, I have the U of hungry. I have this unshakable faith. That means no matter what comes my way, No matter what's happening, I'm going to stay rooted and grounded in this unshakable faith. This unshakable faith will keep my heart centered. I have principles. I have standards in how I'm going to live my life. I have these things because I'm a heart centered. Yes, when it comes to me being successful, when it comes to me living out my calling and my purpose, yes, y'all. And you need to be stingy. You need to be selfish when it comes to becoming all that you're supposed to become. And in order for that to happen, you have to be hungry. And the H is my heart is centered. My heart is fixed. Old folks used to say in the black church, my mind's made up. My heart is fixed. My mind's made up. My heart is centered. I have this unshakable faith, right? And the end, a now urgency. Not tomorrow, not next week, not in the fall, not when, no, it's now. I need to live in the now. I need to produce now. I need to start moving forward toward that thing now, toward that life now, toward that success now. I need to start moving toward it now, not later. Now, we say at Cornerstone Community Church, and I'm sure other pastors say it around the world, when God tells you to do something and you drag your feet, delayed obedience is disobedience. So I have to do now. I can only take care of right now. Yesterday's gone, right? It's gone. Tomorrow I may not make it, but I have to operate in the now. There is a now urgency. Jennifer Woodard checked in. She said, every day I wake up and thank the Lord, and I pray and ask the Lord to let me be a blessing to somebody. Hey, Rez, thanks for asking that question. How do I live in the now? Well, I have this moment. I'm the best that I can be. Everything I do, this is church talk, but this I don't call it church talk. It's real. I do everything. Paul says, do everything as unto the glory of God. So whatever I'm doing, I want God to be proud of me. Now, also, whatever I'm doing, living in the now, is also moving toward the goal or the lifestyle that I set out to live. I don't do anything that works against where I'm going. I don't hang with people who don't have the same values. I don't spend time with people who are not moving in the same direction, right? And so that's how I live in the now. I'm always reading, I'm always writing, I'm always doing something that falls right in line with my purpose. And if I'm doing something, whatever I'm doing to my best of my ability in that moment. That's the now moment. I'm not anywhere else. I'm not in tomorrow. I'm not in an hour from now. I'm in this moment doing the best that I can, and I will not leave here until that is completed. That's how I live in the now. It's a now urgency. My heart is centered. I have an unshakable faith, and I'm in this now. It is urgent that I am the best that I can be right now. I'm reading this book, guys, and I'm not bragging about it, but I think you should go get the book. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I never met Cal Newport. He's not paying me to bring it up, but it's called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And listen to it on Audible. It's available on Audible as well. And also too, let me Unstoppable will be on Audible very soon. But anyway, Cal Newport, Deep Work. He talks about working without distraction. Talks about being in the now. It talks about if a lot of us never reach our life's work, or never, the best work never comes out of us because we are so distracted all of the time. Everything. He even wrote in the book, right? I thought this was interesting. Shared it with the class I taught last night. He said it takes you about 29 minutes. 29 minutes to get into that state of deep work, undistracted deep work. 29 minutes. The moment you stop and look at that text, the moment you stop and check that email, the moment you stop and scroll on Facebook to see who's talking about what, you have now are back in the shallows, and it'll take you 29 minutes to get back into that deep work again. right? And so in order to be, if there's a now urgency and you're working on something, you've got to go deep so you can produce the deep things that God is trying to pull out of you that the world needs to have. If you're going to be a great success, guys, we got to get out of the shallows. We got to go deep. And it has to be, you have to have a now urgency about it. You have 24 hours in the day, 24 hours in the day. What would your life look like if you spent 4 hours in deep work without distraction? You got 20 hours left. You got 20 hours to do everything else you want to do. What would your life look like? My daughter sitting across from me is a writer. What would you look like, Janae, you got to answer out loud, if you wrote deeply for 4 hours a day? If you would transcend where you are, you would be in a whole different place next year if you spent 4 hours a day writing deeply. So it has to be a now urgency. If you want it, you have to do it now. Forget the distractions. Yes, Deshauna, distractions, they're horrible. We get distracted by the dog barking. We get distracted by, Maya Angelou. And I talk about this with Eric Brown a lot. Maya Angelou, she's we know who she is, but she would. This is what Maya would do. She would call a hotel. She said, "Listen, I need that room for a week or whatever time she needs a room." She said, "But I need you to do something. I need you to take every picture off the wall. I need you to close the drapes. I need you to take the phone out. Because when I get in there and shut the door for hours at a time, I want zero distractions." And now we have the Maya Angelou. We had the Maya Angelou that we had. She didn't allow distractions. Again, it's a heart centered. So when my heart centered, I am going to actually create an atmosphere. If my heart's centered, I'm going to go out of my way to create an atmosphere to where I can work in my unshakable faith, but now I have a now urgency. It's important for me for 4 hours not to be distracted. Hey, can some of y'all put y'all phone down for 4 hours a day? Mm-hmm. Can you get off social media for 4 hours a day? Can you say, "Well, I'm asleep"? Can you do your deep work? Remember last week I talked about Missy Elliott and Timbaland? What did they do? Locked themselves in the studio, didn't listen to anybody else's music. Only music they listened to was a music in their head. Missy said she wanted zero distractions. If they were distracted, she said that they would start sounding like everybody else. You know why some of y'all sound like everybody else? It's because you listen to everybody else. You gotta have a now urgency. Listen. Be a thought leader, not a thought repeater. And that's going to take some deep work. That's going to take some now urgency to be that. That's what it's going to take, guys. So anyway, am I making sense today? Mm-hmm. Am I making sense? 888-329-33. I'm sorry. Yeah, 06. 888-329-3306 is the number. Call in and be part of it. Guys, I wrote a book called Unstoppable, right? Unstoppable. 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. Sold everywhere, guys. RalphGravesJr.com. Go to my website. Get my newsletter. We talk about these things. Amazon.com. BarnesandNoble.com. We talk about these things. I got another book I'm working on right now. It's inside of me. You know why it's coming out? Because I shut the door for 4 or 5 hours. You will not be able. I'm telling y'all right now, when I get off the radio, don't even look for me till later on this afternoon. Because you have to go deep. You have to go deep. Go check out my book. Go check out my book, Unstoppable, right? It's available everywhere. 888-329-3306. Let me check out some folks on saying some stuff on Facebook. I appreciate you guys checking in. Thanks to Rezica and Deshaun and Nicole Corbin Shaw and Jennifer, and I really appreciate it. You guys checking in online. Rezica says, she asked a question. In the process of your deep work, Pastor, what are some places you go for that deep work? I will share that with you right after this break. Janae's going to come back with the verse of the day, and I'll talk about some of the places I retreat to do some of that deep work. And we still got a couple other letters to go. Listen to the Ralph Graves Jr. Morning Show. My name is Ralph Graves. Listen on WWDBAM.com, 860 on the AM dial. We will be right back after these messages.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Jackson, and I'm one of the attorneys with Codler, Hernandez & Co., where we put people first. We're a full-service law firm that
Hey, we gotta shout out
specializes
to
in
your friend.
personal injury, workers' compensation,
Is she gonna call him?
nursing home
I think
abuse,
she's
medical
still asleep because I texted
malpractice,
her.
real estate,
Well, I like for her to call in one day. I don't want to just shout her out while she's asleep.
Please do
Yeah,
not
well, I'll tell
hesitate
her.
to
She can call her next
contact us.
Wednesday.
We can be contacted
Yeah.
toll free at 1-877
You know my
866
leg is hurt.
7535. Once again, that's
I'm going today.
877
I get an X-ray on my leg.
7535.
How
Also,
was your
please
root
visit
canal?
our website
Not bad.
at
Not bad. I think I'll talk about that. I will share that with y'all. I have to go back
and
Friday.
see how we can
For the other
Finish.
check.
Yeah.
Be sure
I
to
don't know,
check
man.
I
I,
had 6 roots and 1 tooth, and it still was only
and ask for Jamie.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I got to go back again.
Set goals.
What's that?
Make them happen.
Well, he said that
Every
my
single day.
my
Do
roots,
it on a daily
most
basis.
people's roots are straight. Mine, I don't know what he said. He just said I got to come back.
If not, that's
And
okay.
there was some infection down there, so they put some medicine in
Make
there.
small changes.
They
Set
would give
goals
a
that
week.
make
for the
them
infection
happen.
to go away so
Make
they can keep
part.
going.
Yeah, but that means more. My jaw just now is healing from the needles.
Small changes on a daily
It's not the work didn't hurt,
basis.
but I'm like, come on, man.
Age,
How many
size,
needles gonna stick in a man's mouth?
we all can.
You know what I mean?
It's about getting off the ground
A
when
little pinch.
I hate them.
What do you mean a little pinch?
They
Like-
try to like,
There's no little pinch.
Not in the mouth.
Yeah.
trying to like move your jaw so like you can't feel. I'm like,
I
I feel
feel you
that.
tugging. Right.
Plus, the
Yeah.
needle.
Yeah.
0810 www.
Latex and gloves,
Ew,
cover
right?
smell.
And then they put this thing where you hold your mouth
Yeah,
open
I
and the,
hate that.
and the
Oh
big
my
I mean,
god.
like,
That's so uncomfortable. I
Vaseline
just
on your
hate people in
lips.
my mouth. Right? Because they get so dry, especially with the suction. Oh. hate it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Ralph Graves Jr. Show. It's now time for your verse of the day. When we are hungry in the physical, we sometimes make bad choices, falling into the trap of convenience over healthy choices. The same can happen when you're hungry for the life that you want. You can be tempted to take whatever you can just to get some satisfaction, but James 1:12 ensures our true treasure and satisfaction lie in heaven. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to them that love him. I'm Janae, and that was your verse of the day.
thank you, Janae, for that. Thank you for James 1:12. James 1:12. We're talking about being hungry. We're talking about having a heart that's centered, unshakable faith, a now urgency. And let me answer this question before I forget. Bertica Brown and Ashley said, "Well, Pastor, where do you go to do deep work?" It depends. When I go out to pray, I'm always outside. I'm a nature guy. I'm an outside guy. So I find some trails, and I really just found I love a closeness to God. And
do to grow is every day say, at the beginning, make it purposeful that I'm going to learn something today. I'm gonna take something away from today that's gonna make me better tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the day, hold yourself accountable. Ask yourself, what did I learn today?
Right.
From whatever the experience was, maybe you went to a class, maybe you took a CLE, maybe it was just on the job, maybe it was in dealing with the kids. But there is a lesson in every single day.
Yeah.
Be intentional about learning.
Yeah. And so you have to grow continuously. You have to continuously grow. You have to be intentional, learning every lesson that's involved. I read all the time. I prefer reading over anything else. And I read stuff to kind of train my brain. If it's, of course, I have to study the text, and of course I prepare my sermons, but I'm continuously growing. And not only that, why don't you ever get around people, right, that where you really stretch each other in thought? You don't agree about everything all the time. That's why I like this group that's in here. We don't agree all the time. And these young people that I have around me kind of stretch me in thought, because the worst thing that can happen to an old man is, as you get older, is you just get, that's the way I'm gonna do it, and your life will pass you by, right? So, and we continue to grow. I don't care whether you agree with the other person's opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but try to see some things from another person's point of view. Just try to see it. Try to say, I guess I don't, hey, I understand where you're coming from. So this continuous growth, again, is intentional. Continuous growth is intentional, whether it's taking classes, whether it's reading books, whether it's having the right. This is what we call them masterminds. That's what we call, when I get around with my buddies, and I get around with some people that really stretch me, some peers and some mentors. We get around them and we have a mastermind. Matter of fact, guys, I got a mastermind coming up. It's called the Gulfstream Way. You guys have heard me talk about my friend Milton Corsi. We're actually shooting the video for the ad tomorrow. If you want to be part of the Gulfstream Way, email me, Ralph@RalphGraceJr.com. We'll teach you how to be a part of it. You'll see a lot of it coming out. What really is, it's a cohort. It's a mastermind group of really trying to change the way we think, and really trying to get to where we know that we all are purposed to be. And it's different people from different areas of life and different walks of life. Every relationship is having an impact on your life. What kind of relationships are you having? Are you having the right ones that impact you the right way? And you've got to be cool enough to understand. And I think I shared this on one of my Facebook posts. There's something called an inner circle and an outer circle. You realize that, right? There's something called an inner circle and an outer circle. Every person in your life, every relationship has an impact on your life. You have to evaluate your relationships, ladies and gentlemen. You have to. You have to. You have to change them. Your outer circle is always changing. Your inner circle, listen, you can't help who your kids are. Can't help who your parents are. Can't help family is, right? That's inner circle, right? Some of y'all got some close friends, whatever. The outer circle is forever changing. Sometimes the outer circle becomes the inner circle. Sometimes some folks in the inner circle may have to kind of be bumped out just a little bit. But in this relationships, with this relationship impact, understand that all these relationships that you have impact the direction of your life. Every relationship you have impacts the speed by which you achieve your goals. Think about that. You got some people that are hanging on your coattails, that are slowing you down. I don't know how you gotta adjust that. Some of you may not have some people have the personality of, hey, listen, you ain't going the same direction I am. I'm cutting you. See you when I see it. We can still be friends. Some people don't. Some people feel like they have to nurture. And can I talk to my nurturers in the audience? Don't nurture people to the point where it slows you down to where you're trying to go. Do not do that. Do not nurture them to the point where it's keeping you from being who God called you to be. Do not nurture them at the expense of you never achieving and never arriving, and you go to your grave and everything that's inside of you that was supposed to come out of you, you take to your grave because you spent all your time. Now, maybe you're called to be a nurturer, but if you're not called to be a nurturer, you took all that stuff that was inside of you, that could make the world a better place, you took it to the grave with you. All of your relationships have an impact.
I think for me, relationship impact is working the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have the people who are hanging on to your coattails, blah, 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 dragging you back. Or maybe how I feel in my case, it's like I don't have relationships.
I was going there next. Yes, there are a group of you who don't have any relationships.
Yeah, I have the inner circle of, family.
Right.
But I don't have that many outer circle friends. I just don't have those relationships at all.
You know how I got those? I was intentional. I went out, Jason, I joined the Rotary Club. Yeah, why not?
Just on a whim?
Just on a whim. I went to Rotary. Guess what? I formed some outer relationships, found some people who were moving in the same direction. I joined some different organizations, and I didn't stay there for 5 years. I joined it for 2 years. I had a good time, met some great people who I'm still very close to. They're part of the outer. So you have to be intentional, Janae, about developing those outer relationships. You're a writer. Find a writer's guild. Find a writers group. Hey guys, whoever I'm talking to, you guys may work out. You may be singers. You may be wherever. You might be producers. You might be people are into fashion. People are into cooking. Listen, you guys on Facebook. Facebook has those groups. Facebook has a Facebook group for every single thing. But I went out. I joined the Rotary, Union League in Philadelphia. So you have to be intentional about forming those right relationships that will impact the direction that you're going. Again, you can't do it just sitting at home. Talk about, I could do this all by myself. I remember my dad told me years ago, no man's an island. You can't do it all by yourself. We're human beings. Somebody has to open the door for you. Am I right, Jamie?
Absolutely, and I recognize that can be uncomfortable, especially for those who identify as introverts as opposed to extroverts. It can be daunting, to try to add to that outer circle. But I would say take it one step at a time. Like you joining the Rotary Club might be very apprehensive. People who are introverts may be very apprehensive about going someplace where they don't know anybody.
Right.
But I would say that is probably the best situation. And then just take it one introduction at a time.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't meet everybody in the room, but maybe you meet someone in the room that you really connect with.
Right.
And, if you walk away from the 50-person gathering, having made a real connection with people that you're going to follow up with, it was a success.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be overwhelming, but you have to intentionally get out of the comfort zone. It's not going to be comfortable adding to that outer circle.
No.
It's going to be worth it.
Yes, it is. Hear what she said, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. You have to be intentional, guys. Every relationship you have has an impact on your life. You have to be
just
intentional.
look for that's where my thing is with the whole what do you look for in you're just looking for.
All right, let me tell you a quick story how I got to the Rotary Club. I'm a speaker. So I joined. I said, well, where are other speakers? I joined the National Speakers Association.
Just for the hanging out with speakers, not for actual friendship?
I wanted to become a better speaker, right?
Okay.
So I wanted to network, if you will, and use the tools and find out there's some phenomenal speakers, and I know who I am and who I want to be. So I want to get around other people, again, moving in my same direction. So I joined the National Speakers Association, had one in North Jersey, but it was too far. So I joined one in Philadelphia. So I made the sacrifice, got up, I drive back and forth outside of Philly every week. So while I'm at the National Speakers Association, I meet a friend of mine she's now a friend of mine. She lives in Morristown. She said, listen, you might as well join the Rotary Club in Morristown. I knew nothing about the Morristown Rotary Club, right? She's cool. We all moving in the same direction. I go to the Rotary Club. I get introduced. Somebody has to bring you in, cultivate a relationship. I'm in the Rotary Club. Now I'm meeting even more people, but it was intentional. I sat in the car. I'm gonna tell you how it happened, guys. I only got a few minutes left. Me and my wife going out to eat. I'm sitting in the car, and I'm sitting outside of a restaurant in Deptford, across from the Deptford Mall. I will not mention the name because they're not paying us just yet. But I'm sitting there and waiting for your mom, Janae. And I'm looking. I'm like, I gotta join this National Speakers Association, and it cost. Guys, listen, build a relationship cost. It costs some money. Again, going back to investing in myself, keeping myself steady. I joined the National Speakers Association, and that's how it began with that part of the journey there. And because of that journey, I have, because of the NSA, National Speakers Association, I am connected with speakers globally. Did the same thing with the John Maxwell team. I knew John. I read his books. I decided I'm going down to a conference. So it was intentional. And you're meeting people that are moving in the same direction. I go to the Rotary Club. They're about something. And they're moving in the same direction. So, and I'm sure for whatever industry you're in, they have some sort of growth or network track or whatever. They have something for whatever your passion is. There are a group of people out there that can open the next door for you to go even further, to sharpen your skills or to become better at what you're doing. It's intentional relationships that are moving in the same direction. The R in hungry is relationship impact. That's the R in hungry. The Y, and I got to get out of here, is saying, yes, Lord, I'm a believer. So God put it inside me. God has me moving in that direction. I'm going to say yes. I'm not going to argue with God. I'm tired of wrestling with God. I'm tired. And when he says move, I move just like that. Right? That's what Ludacris said. But I kind of flipped it to the gospel thing. But when God says, Graves, this is where I want you to go. Yes, I'm going. I say yes. I'm going. I don't argue it. You have to have these things, guys. You have to have a heart that's centered, an unshakable faith, a now urgency. You have to commit to growing continuously. Stop thinking because you reached one level, that's it. No, that's not it. Right? Remember, when you reach a level, you reach it at the bottom. You don't reach it at the top. So grow continuously. Got to have relationships that impact you in a positive way. You have to say yes. That's the why. Guys, I know I talked your ear off today. Y'all didn't even get a chance to hear from my co-host today, but that's what we're talking about being hungry. You've got to be hungry. You have to be hungry to achieve the success that you want. Hey guys, I'll check out the Twitter poll real quick. We got about 2 minutes left. What's the Twitter poll say? We got 1 minute left. The Twitter poll, go to it, guys. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a personal chef, a maid, or a personal shopper? A maid is still winning. But guys, listen, you have been listening to the Ralph Graves Jr. Show. It was a great Wednesday. I had a good time. Thank you for being the heroes of the show. Everybody in the room say goodbye. Everybody say bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Guys, you've been great. Consider sponsoring us. Check me out. Truth Boost, the whole nine. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. See you next week. Facebook Live. Thank you for checking in. That was fast and furious. Thank you for all your input. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, guys. My mom said personal maid.
Right.
You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful afternoon. Catch you